boss owns a truck and a hammer in my hand. X got the kids and half of my check. Other half goes to the IRS. Cuckoo. The beer's on the hood, cars on the blocks. Carburetor parts still sitting in the box. Wrenching that wrench, stripping that bolt. Busting up a knuckle, make a man go cuckoo. This world keeps shaking me, breaking me, taking me, making me damn near crazy as a loon. Cuckoo. And I'm here, I'm there, I'm pulling my hair, I'm burning out a little too soon. Running on a train, gunning that race, chasing that carrot on the pole. One more thing in a long line of things I can't control. Doc says hi, gives me a pill, shoots me a shot, sends me the bill. Life is a road and it's all uphill. One don't drive it, then the other one will. Cuckoo. This world keeps shaking me, breaking me, taking me, making me damn near crazy as a loon. Cuckoo. And I'm here out there.
Yo, good morning, everybody. All right, before we start, quick audio check. Chat, can you let me know? Can you hear me okay? Is the music too loud in the background? And then continually let me know how things sound, okay? See what chat says. Good morning, gents, and maybe a lady, who knows? This is a male-dominated genre of games, we will say. How's everybody doing this morning, huh? Can everyone hear me okay? Let me know, all right? You can only hear the music? Everyone says it sounds good. You can hear my voice, right? All right, everyone says they can hear my mic, so that's good news. My wife is to my left, and she was saying, I can't hear them. I can only hear the music. She was paused. Ugh. Anyways, welcome in, everybody. I was looking at my last 2 live streams, and they were over 1 year ago. Isn't that crazy? So we're finally back, able to stream again. Back in my house after a pretty catastrophic flood destroyed it. But we are back in the streaming world, and I'm really excited to show you kind of what I got going in terms of farm sim mods. I've kind of transitioned away from map making a little bit and gotten more into placeables and vehicles. So I've got a lot of exciting vehicles. I've got one published to my itch.io page right now. And then I've got one truck, sorry. And then I've got 2 work in progress trucks. I've also got 2 trailers. One is released. It's my feed trailer. And then one that I'm working on is a Chandler dry tender trailer for fertilizers and such. And then I've got a few placeables that I show you, one of which is also released. It's the overhead feed bin. I'll show you that in this stream too. So without further ado, let's hop in, right? Look at that. So this is my work in progress placeable feed mill, that white building. Pleasant. Damn it. Why you gotta do that to me, huh? Every time, without fail. But you'll see here this white building kind of left of center here. That is the feed mill that I've made. This feed mill functions right now as a placeable production point to where it just takes corn and poops out pig feed. As simple as that. Thanks, Deuce. Appreciate the feedback on that. But this feed mill is pretty simple in terms of its productions, at least right now. This is fully 3D modeled by me based on some old Google reference or Google Earth reference images to where I got measurements and things like that. This feed mill doesn't exist in the real world anymore. Been torn down. Pleasant, you'll know where this one's at, obviously, and what map this is going into. But I won't announce that quite yet, just because I want to keep it private a little bit. So I'm going to show you the feed mill. Just behind the feed mill, it's similar to the bin site in real life that used to be there. That bin site is CM Squared Modding's modular bin site. So it's got a corn dryer and a couple of bins, which is pretty cool. You'll see down to the right of the feed mill, there's that GMC Denali. That is made by AG Farms, which we will come back to him in just a little bit here. And then finally, left of center, everything, or the thing that everyone's been waiting for, the Freightliner FLD. I have recently learned that Freightliners are called freight shakers. Never knew that. They shake so bad off of the line that they call them a freight shaker. So, and then you'll also see my Co-op Feed Products trailer blinding you with its reflectivity here. But I've got quite a few things to show off. I'm going to keep chatting, and then we're just going to get into some casual playing and chatting and stuff like that. But real quick, I'm going to switch back here, check the stream health on YouTube here. 1 second here. How do I get to YouTube Studio? Where the hell is that at? Oh, there it is. $14 viewers. That's pretty great. Hey, No, thanks for coming in. Let me say hello to everybody. Why don't I do that first? Who we got in chat? Lanny, hopefully you're still here. I heard you have some chaos going on. Ghostface, welcome in. Wild4_20. Fender, welcome in. Green Mountain Farms, Deuce. Pleasant View, of course. We got No in here. Hey, Outback's in here. That's great. You guys getting some long locks of hair, says Pleasant. Yeah, I haven't shaved or cut my hair since my wedding, which has been almost a year ago. So, Outback asks, have you thought about doing any slurry tank options for the truck? I have not thought about that. I know Custom Modding did that one for FS22 that was really detailed. I could do maybe one of those like open top tankers, maybe, or do one similar, like it's not an auger, but it's a pump with a tube that comes out type trailer. I could think about doing one of those too. So anyways, let's me get back into FS here and switch back to my capture. So yeah, let's just kind of start from the top here. And I'm basically just going to go sequentially through all the vehicles that I've purchased. Starting at the top here. You're getting a hint. So yeah, again, the Freightliner FLD 120 day cab. This is kind of a 90s era version. Schultz Modding told me that the production years were like 89 to 2000 something. And so this one here is a 90s era, which is kind of denoted by the headlights here. The newer versions, the 2000s versions, had kind of like what a Peterbilt has, where the headlights are sitting up on top of the fender a little bit. So Deuce, yes, there is a cab over, which I will get to. It's yet another Freightliner, so I'll get to that in a second here. But this Freightliner FLD here was a 3D model that I found. Oh, who's the author? Outlaw Trucking or something like that. He's on CG Trader. See you later, Pleasant. Thanks for stopping in. The sound is really good here, Wild. I'll show you just in a second. There's 2 different sound options based on the 2 different engine options that you can choose from. But got custom decals on here, and I'll show you in the store real quick what this looks like. So if you go to category trucks and then find your Freightliner FLD 120 here you can see it in the store. There are two frame options. There's the short frame and then there's the X2 frame. So this is compatible with BC Bueller's bed pack. And then if 82 Studio ever does release any X2 beds, it'll be compatible with those as well. Ladies and gentlemen, Simulation Station is in chat. Good morning, Sim. Hey, you brought it up in your stream yesterday or the day before that the collisions were funky on this truck. I did get that fixed. So if you look here, when you switch between the two frames, the collisions are no longer conflicting. So yeah, there's the short frame and the X2 frame option. I see in chat, Deuce asks Detroit and Cummins. Right now I have it as a Cummins and a Cat, just because those are the 3D models that I had. So I'll use the Cat C15 in this selection here. BC Bueller on the wheels has been gracious enough to continually grant me permissions to use his wheels from his Volvo truck on my trucks. So I've got these on the M2, and then I've also got these on this truck and then the cab over as well. So these are really great kind of American style wheels. They look really nice. And I particularly love the steel wheel options just because I like white rims. You have two different config options for the exhaust. You have single and dual. And then a couple fender options. It defaults to plastic, but you can do quarters, chrome quarters, or you can do just none. I like to do none on the X2, so. Miles, welcome in. This one, just because I bought the 3D model as is, I don't think it'll ever have the sleeper option, unfortunately. Now, I know that at least the ones I see going down the road, I often see a coffin sleeper on the back, and they look really sick, but I don't know if I'm as good enough as of a modeler to make the sleeper cab for this. Maybe. We'll see. Tony, welcome in. Thanks for the wave. Going back to the config options here, I'm going to put the plastic ones on there. You have options for horns on the roof. You have options for antennas on the mirrors. You can take off the cab handles if you want. You can add hood mirrors. You can add a wet kit, which shows up on this right hand, the passenger side here. So you can see there's an added tank and hydraulic hookups. Back to the driver's side, you can add a frame step. And then I'm going to talk about these more in detail later, but you can add a headache rack or a cab protector. Towards the front, we'll have a rocket launcher like Mad Max. If not, can you add it? It says MRG. No, but I can add the silver spray paint can into the cup holder. How's that sound? You can add a bull bar on the front, and that bull bar can also have additional guides. I think some people call them dummy sticks. So I'll just have the bull bar on there. And then it gets into the decal options. So you can add different company logos, just like the farmer one or some company ones, generic co-ops. I'll add the Riverbend ones. And then you can do legal decals. So it adds like the US DOT required stickers on there. Or you can add legal and a truck number to it as well. Final configs here, you have different mud flap logo options. So you can do just a basic Freightliner. You can do Vanderhags, which is a truck dealer kind of around my area. Or you can do Westmore tanks. Westmore does like propane bobtails. They do stainless steel fuel trucks, that kind of thing. So, and then very finally, we have the color config options. So right now, my favorite is this light continental blue. I don't know why. It just looks sharp. And I've seen a few Google images of this color of truck. And it's peachy. I don't know. We'll just kind of go back to the default here, which is, I think, the Skoda red. Yeah, it's that one. And I'm going to purchase that. 100K for all the options. I'm going to go through and tweak the different config prices. I just did the configs and I didn't even think about the different prices on them. So like horns should not be 750, while cab handle should not be 7,000. That's a little crazy. So anyways, those are the different config options. I think what people are most curious about right now is how this thing sounds. So here we are in there. Let's take a look inside the cab here. Got a really nice detailed dash, custom gauges, nice shifter, things like that. So this is pretty cool. Thunderer says legal decals are an option. I didn't even realize we've been missing them. Yeah, no, I like to add those little decal details just to make it feel a little bit more real. But so this is the Cummins engine option in this truck. So I'm gonna turn it on now. You guys ready? 3, 2, 1. I'm turn up my vehicle volume here. Where is it at? General settings. How's that louder for you? Now, when you're in here, I'm going to turn it back down just a second here, because it's way too loud in my ears. When you go to your F1 menu, you can see here up at the top there, the B key will toggle on and off the Jake brake. So I'm going to leave it on just for now. Oops. And start driving. So you can kind of hear the Cummins engine sounds there. The Jake brake there as well. And the Cat, I think, sounds a little bit better. These are FS22 sounds that I went through and updated to comply with some of the FS25 standards, like the file sizes and stuff. But I think they sound decent. The Cummins are a little robotic, I think, but some of the additional details in the cab here, you can see shift lever shakes. That's pretty cool. And then you can turn on the lights. There's the low beam options and the high beam options. And if you look like right in the middle of the screen at that light selector, it actually rotates. Just a simple little detail. And then if you turn on the blinkers, the light selector works as well. Outside the cab, that's the low beam headlights. And then when you turn on the high beams, the fog lights come on as well. And then you got blinkers on either side. So we'll keep driving around in this. And as you'll notice, I'm on a map that you've probably never seen before. And that's because it's currently in testing. It's currently private, but I imagine this will be a full publicly release once it's ready. This is... Oh God, what is it? I feel so bad now. Denman, Nebraska, by AG Farms. It's a really nice little 1X map of a tiny no-name town on the Platte River in Nebraska. I think AG has done a really nice job on this map. It looks really nice. It's got a really nice level of polish, especially in kind of one of its earlier stages right now. But one other sound option with this truck that I want to highlight, I think I've got it on this truck, is when you unhook and hook to trailers. You can see there's like lets the air out, and then it lets the air in. So Deuce says, just a thought, but normally semis have 5 top clearance lights. Okay. I mean, I suppose I could add one just in the middle. That wouldn't be a hard change at all. So just driving through this map a little bit. It's got a really nice little co-op right up here. Just a simple bin site. And then it's got a really tiny dealership without a building. But what I like about that is like driving through Iowa even, you'll see these implement dealers that have like these satellite locations where they park used implements and sell them from there without like a dealership building or an office that you can walk into and talk to somebody. And then you just call a phone number and buy that piece of equipment. So yeah, Pleasant, I think this is Denman, Nebraska. Denman? Let me verify that real quick. I feel really bad, AG. Yes, Denman, Denman, Nebraska by AG Farms. So, some pretty cool stuff going on in this map. Really enjoying it so far. It's been a good place to showcase some of my mods, and he was gracious enough to allow me to stream on it. So, let's hop into the next truck. You can see here, this one is set up with the X2 bodies, and they've got BC Bueller's bodies on them. So I think this is the Brandon grain box, the newer style. And then it's got the pup trailer option too. So there's just a pintle hitch down on the bottom here that you can hook onto. I'm going to add some hookups here for airlines. I don't have that on there quite yet. I didn't realize that BC had this on this pup trailer, so I'll have to add the electrical and air. And I think, is that hydraulics too? Oops. No, that's just, yeah, that is hydraulics and air. Okay. Oops. So I'll have to add those to this truck or this X2 option here. But you can see this is the Cummins as well. Everything, oops, sorry. All the covers work and everything like that. You can hook and unhook from the pup trailer if you want to, and just run an X2 body. I'll show off a few more X2 bodies that I'm working on, and a little bit here. Outback, I'll show a PDA just in a second here. Deuce says it's normally 3 middle and then the other 2 single. Oh yeah. So you have 3 in the middle, and then yep, I know exactly what you're saying. I think I've got that on my tab over. I'll look though. So yeah, there's the X2 option. This is basically the same exact truck with the config options, but it's got the X2 bed on it. So I'll switch to the next vocation here, which is used as basically just a co-op truck hauling feed. So with this feed mill, these 2 loadout bins here, these galvanized loadout bins, are where you fill your feed trailers. And this would be a feed trailer that you could fill. So the lids open and close on this. Got nice sounds on there. Can't remember what engine option I had. Oh, I had the Cummins in this one. Okay. The lids open on this trailer. If you look at those bottom gate wheels, you just press X, those open up as well. And then if I pull out of here a little bit, O will open the pipe. That's also got some nice hydraulic sounds to it as well. This pipe uses mouse controls, so left click goes side to side, and then right click goes up and down. And then O puts the pipe back in. Will a 6-row planter be good on this map? Also, that truck is sweet. Thank you, Pleasant. 6-row for some of the fields, yes. So let me go to the PDA. So here is the PDA, the 1X PDA here. Feed as in TMR, not just TMR. You can put in pig feed as well. And then I think there's a couple other field types you can put, like forage in there. So not quite full TMR. What else? But yeah, you can put TMR in there. TMR and pig feed are obviously the 2 that people are really going to want to put in there. But yeah, here's the PDA. I've got fields 8 and 11, which 11 here is 67 acres is all. But you look down here in the town, there's some really small fields kind of adjacent and in the town as well. There's a couple cattle lots that you can buy, like in 20 there, and then up in the top left corner, these 2, 25 and 27, are both cattle farms. I can't remember if you can haul regular grain with it. Pleasant, I can't remember. But and then there's some just smaller farm operations that are dotted throughout the map. There's a railroad that runs through here, and then on the north end in the inaccessible area, you can see here this river is crazy. This is the Platte River in Nebraska. Just a really pretty river from the satellite view here, but yeah, corn and soybeans, and I think oats or wheat are kind of planted in this area, probably wheat. So but let me fill this up with pig feed real quick, because the next thing I want to show you is another mod by CM Squared. Hey, Waylon. So when this thing is full, it's 45,000 liters. It's kind of heavy. You got to have kind of a beef truck to be able to haul this feed trailer. And if you try to turn when you're going too fast, you will jackknife pretty bad. AG, if you happen to be in the stream, one thing I've noticed with this map is the roads look very flat, but boy, are they bumpy. I don't know if the Nebraska DOT isn't keeping up on their maintenance, but man, they're bumpy. So I'm going to head over to the, turn down my mic gain here. I head over to this Pioneer dealer real quick. And you can see kind of off in the distance, it looks like a hog barn, right? That's because CM Squared has been working on, and it's still in testing, a hog finishing barn. And this would be a great use case for my feed mill back there, and this feed trailer is to deliver pig feed to this hog site. Let this traffic go by. The traffic tends to bunch up in this map as well. I don't know what the fix for that is, but you can kind of see they get a little finicky. Come on, get through them gears. Can't find them, grind them. So as we pull into this Pioneer dealership, it's got a alley to this pig feed barn. Roads look like Oklahoma roads. Yeah, probably. I haven't spent too much time in Oklahoma. I've spent a lot of time in the panhandle of Texas, Northwest Texas, and my God, is that no man's land. So just before this stream started, I asked CM if I could stream this, and he said yes, but the fill root nodes of these bins are a little finicky. So let's see if I can get it to unload. There it goes, it's working. Let's see how much this take. Deuce knows the panhandle very well. Yeah, I was around like Bovina, Lariat, Clovis, New Mexico, those kind of areas. Ray, Texas. Yeah, I like the sounds. I love the sounds on this feed trailer too. I'm gonna stop unloading, it's really loud. All I did was just use the default sound templates, but I can like layered a bunch of them. Went back and forth until I found the kind of right combination to really make me satisfied. So switch out of this truck next, or now, because I think we're just about done showing off the feed trailer and whatnot. One thing about this feed trailer, when I unhook from it, you can see there's those hydraulic hoses that hang. You really want a truck with a wet kit. Otherwise, if you don't have a wet kit with the hydraulic hookups, those hoses will just stay hanging there. So what's up, Cutter? That thing's gonna be looking good hauling beats on my server. Yeah, hell yeah it is. Hell yeah it is. From the Hereford area. Have I been there? I've been to Hereford. I think I have. Isn't that near Bovina? I can't remember. Moving on though. Our next truck is hooked up to the Chandler, the dry fertilizer tender here. This one's pretty cool. This is a model from Polygonish. And And this is very similar to the tender trailers that I see up in my area for hauling lime and other dry fertilizer and mixtures around. So, oftentimes these have a diesel motor on the front that will power the hydraulic setup here. Wasn't says this thing up to all the safety regulations? Are you talking about the tender trailer? Because I hope so. Got all the reflectors and lights on it. But so I just have this little simple generator with like a control box up here. And then the hydraulics. I don't have these two connected. I should really do that. But you can see here that it's got two stainless steel boxes. In total, I think it's 750 cubic feet or 24 ton of dry fertilizer that you can haul with this. And it's got a rear discharge auger here for that. So this would be the controls that you would use to raise and lower the auger, open the different gates, turn things on, etc. And then you can see like the different pressures. So if you're overloading the auger, that thing would be spiked theoretically. So I'll hop in here. This one's still got the Cummins in it. And you can see here when I open the pipe, those hydraulic gates on the bottom also open up. Open and close the pipe and those gates will close. You can see here, I saw this. I'm thinking about adding a flag to the back because that as an option. Because I've seen some of these with a flag sticking off to the left. But at least I have a side marker on there so that it kind of gives you a warning that like, hey, I'm sticking out way back. So yeah, this scale is legit. It looks like you use the vehicle shader to add the dirt to it, which I think is really cool. Really nice looking scale here. It has a tarp that just opens and closes. It's got the mesh in there to keep out big chunks from getting caught up in the auger, that kind of thing. And so I think this one holds lime, seeds, road salt, and solid fertilizer. So I'll load it up with lime so you can see the fill plane there. It's a nice heap, and then it doesn't stick out from the tarp, which is really nice, I think. I do have too many tarp brackets that hold the open tarp, so I want to take some of those out. Probably like every other one I'll take out, but this one doesn't get too heavy. You can see it holds 21,000 liters, less than the feed trailer holds. Outback says that bin site looks pretty nice. It does look really nice. I think he did a really good job with this little baby cooperative. You know, in some of these no-name towns, you don't have huge sprawling bin sites or concrete elevators. You just have very limited resources that a farmer can use. So Legacy would approve of the fill plane. Thank you. We need max heap. Tarp should be able to close. Yeah, then the DOT would be on our ass there, Pleasant. Be overloaded a little bit. But yeah, and then when you do hook and unhook from this trailer, there's some nice like support animations. You can see like the feet turn around. I was trying to get the handle there to bend out and twist, but I just got lazy with the animations. So yeah, that's the Chandler tender. I'll grab a dry fertilizer spreader and show you how it unloads and stuff. But on to the next one. This one is kitted. This one has the cat motor in there. You can see by the yellow. But this one's kind of fully kitted out in terms of the dual exhaust, the bull bar, etc. What I want to talk about now is my headache racks. What up, Smebby? Thanks for stopping in. I am not Unk, okay? He says now I want to start getting into map making. Map making, I have done it. I transitioned away from it because the patience required to do it is hefty. I switched to vehicles just because call it ADHD brain. It's instant gratification. Like you pull something out of Blender, you get it in game, and you can immediately see some progress going. It's pretty quick. But Anyways, back to these headache racks. These are kind of based off of a Merit headache rack. You can see they're not perfectly accurate to an actual Merit rack. They're just based on one. Mainly for that reason is because I wanted to get these on the Mod Hub, and I don't think Merit is a brand that is currently licensed with Giants. But I kind of made it a little bit similar. Merit has a blue badge that they put on everything, and so I made a row crop special badge. Hey Jeremiah, welcome in. But you can see it's got a hose and chain hanger on there with a bucket at the bottom, and then these headache racks have a couple different options for placing beacons. So you can have the headache rack without beacons. You can add left, right, or both. You can add left or both. And then there's a middle one that would usually, you'd put like an LED bar across the top. Giants doesn't really have a good default one, so you'd have to get another modders version. Chris says, oh, hey, Chris, are there crop dusters in Farm Sim, or would you need to mod them in? You have to mod them in, but people have made them. And Pleasant, I did know that Jeremiah was a bullfrog. He started off as a tadpole, believe it or not. Straight out of the womb, he was a tadpole. So, anyways, these headache racks have been submitted to the Mod Hub as a prefab as of yesterday. This is my first Mod Hub submission, so I thought starting with a prefab would be a pretty good way to go. That just means that other modders can then download that prefab and put these headache racks on their trucks, should they so please. So really excited about that one. One little detail that I didn't include on the Mod Hub submission is I just made these 2D chains and I skinned the mesh on them so they wiggle when you turn. That'll be included in the release of this truck. They're super low poly. It's actually just planes, so you can see like when I get vertical with it, they kind of disappear. They don't really have any thickness to them, but super low poly, so they're kind of game engine friendly. Feed mill needs to hit the hub as well. I'm working on that. I need to revisit some things. I've noticed some issues that need to get me back into Blender on it, but yeah, this configuration of this truck with the headache rack and the kind of the big heavy hauler style, I think is really cool. Ben, it's called a headache rack because it's technically a cab protector. But I think the reason it's called a headache rack is if you had like logs or something on the back and those logs would come unhooked for some reason, they fly into the cab. It stops you from getting your head chopped off or having a headache. So, but anyways, kind of on the back of this trailer here is this 8R 2014 8R. This was just released by STX Farms in combination with Dinse modding. I've noticed some errors with it, but it is publicly released as of right now. I imagine there'll be some hot fixes coming soon, but this is a really cool tractor as well. It looks really nice. Got a lot of config options, a lot. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, that's one config set. Move on to the next one. Back to the X2. This body right here is just a flatbed with straps, or it auto loads for bales. But this is one that I made that I'm working on. So you can see here I just have it set up to haul some seed totes around. Got custom lights on the back, reverse lights that work, so on and so forth. I just need to rework the dirt and wear maps and the normal maps on it and everything. So before I get too far ahead with this truck, this is the Cat motor configuration. So let's take a moment to listen to the sounds of that. Those are the startup sounds. And then I'll give you some sounds when it's running. I think this motor configuration is the way better sounding option. And even in cab, you can hear it sounds really nice. The Jake brake is pretty sick too. Listen to this. That's pretty cool, right? But again, what's nice about this X2 bed in particular is, one, you can auto load bales with it, so you can haul your different bales around, and then you can use that as a co-op truck on a multiplayer server to deliver seeds or chemical totes or whatever you want to do there. So that's another kind of config option that you have to work with the Freightliner. I have a couple different X2 beds that I'll show off one more in this here, but I'm kind of reworking some of those. Now that I have Substance Painter, I can do a lot more detailed stuff in terms of the dirt and the wear. And so my quality of work has really launched there. Sick Jake brake. Thank you, Jeremiah. I've noticed you've been playing with this truck as a specialist. Very specialized testing that you've been doing. That's pretty cool. Appreciate it. Hope you're liking it. Here's the truck that I have released, and this is the Freightliner M2-106 business class. That's a tongue twister, isn't it, baby? Had a lot of people say some stupid shit about this truck. They're comparing it to an M2-112. They're comparing it to Columbia's. It's just, no, this is an M2. It's a vocational truck. Pretty simple. And most cases, when they're not in a vocational setup like that's shown right here, they're a single axle. And people have not been happy about that, but booey. Or like that one meme goes, psh. Anyways, it's missing some side markers here and stuff like that, but this is the fuel tank that I made. It's configurable as a fuel tanker and as a milk tanker. I've reworked this one, cleaned up the model quite a bit. So this one will be coming out with my X2 bed pack when it's redone. So some things that I'm really proud of with this M2, this was a model originally made by Anwin. It's like, what's his name? Like Anton Wischkowski or something like that. But he did a really great job with this model, particularly the interior. But I love that when you get in and out of this truck, there's that door animation. You can see the interior is just so good. So good. And then when you turn it on, you wait for it. That turns on, the CarPlay there. Got some light options. Like you can see here, it's got the interior lights, which I think is really nice. Good sounds, just basic base game sounds. Some pretty good options on there. But yeah, I won't spend too much time on the M2 just because this is already publicly released. You can get your hands on it. It's in the it's on my itch.io page. Smitty asks, what's with the Freightliner love, Unk? Need more international trucks. I'll tell you. So back in the day, my farm had a Freightliner FL70 single axle truck, just absolutely gutless. One of the worst trucks we ever had no power. And so I wanted to make a model or get a model or in-game a Freightliner FL70, but I couldn't find one. But I did find a really good M2, and some of the highest quality models that I found, just for models that I bought, have been Freightliners. And so I just kind of started doing a Freightliner series is all. So thanks for that compliment, Jeremiah. And Ben, I will show the dirt and wear here in a second. Thanks for asking. So yeah, anyways, that's what we did. That. Can you run this truck? Are you talking about the M2 there, Pleasant? Can you run this one as a flatbed? This one's X2 compatible, so you can run it as a flatbed. You can run it as any bed pack that's out there. You can run it with this M2. So, okay, on to the next one. Oh, I got my combine. I'm going to get this started, get him moving with Courseplay here so he can go on his own. He's still working on the headlands. I'll show off this tractor real quick. This is by my buddy Deluc. I'm sorry, I talk to him like almost every day, and I still don't know how to pronounce his last name. So, yeah. But this tractor, it's the 8030 series. This is, I think, the next generation from the 8000 series tractors. My farm has two 8000 series. We have an 8400T, a track tractor, and then we have an 8410. This is the next iteration of those, the 8020, 8030 series, I believe. But he's done a really nice job on this tractor, adding some really nice config options. Looks really good. It's been one of my favorites to play with. Got the Grizz can in there. I mean, what a detail, right? Here we go. The one that has been asked for already is the cab over. This is a Freightliner FLT. This is a way older truck. I think these got started being built in the 70s, I think. They first started off as like a white brand tractor, and then Freightliner bought out white, so it was a white Freightliner, and then it just went to Freightliner. This is another model by that same guy that made the FLD model. So I got this one. You can see it's got the door animations, got a very similar interior, but it's got the sleeper cab, which I think is really great. I'm gonna unhook it from Smebby's Merit here. This is one of my favorite grain trailers in the game. Pretty sick. Just to show you some of the options with this truck. And I think the first thing that you're going to notice is the cab suspension. So watch this. Yeah, the cab wiggles. That was a fun little project that I worked on to make this thing seem as realistic as possible. Got an engine bay light in there. And then another thing you can see when you look back in here. Oops. Sorry. I'll look at chat. Miles said an FL70 would be cool. It would be really cool. Now I'm playing. I love the junk farm trucks more than the Peterbilts and Kenworth show trucks. For sure. I like the freight shakers and the small stuff. You know, the medium size operations. So Wild's in love. What are you in love with? Are you in love with the FLT? Cab over? One thing you'll see here with this one, you can see the fan spinning around in there. That's pretty cool little detail. So back in here, down here, this little shifter guy, that was my first skinned mesh. The skinned mesh is what makes that rubber boot follow the shifter arm. That was the first time I'd ever done one, and I thought that was really cool. So I've been doing skin meshes on everything that I possibly can. So maybe asks, Unk, what state are you from? Iowa, baby. I don't know why you call me Unk, but it's growing on me. Look at those blue things glow, baby. But this truck needs some reworks. You can see it's got some missing textures on the speakers. And I was doing the spec maps my old way in Blender. And so they don't look very good. So this is a really awesome truck. I love it. And this one, I think it was Deuce that was saying 3 in the middle and then 2 on the outside. This one got it. So I'll drive this around a little bit just because it's so sick. With the cab suspension and everything. I mean, just look at that bad boy. Pretty sweet truck. Listen to that Jake too. Oh. All right, we'll ditch this one real quick, literally. Thanks, Deuce. Appreciate it. Miles, can't wait to be driving these trucks. Absolutely. All my mods will be publicly released. They are currently, pretty much everything that I'm showing today is with my specialized team of specialists that are doing specialized testing of my specialized mods. If you want to become a specialist, I do have a Patreon. It's called the Row Crop Specialists. You can join my community, support me, support my work. and also test some of my mods that are not going to Mod Hub, that are just going to be PC releases only. You can test some of those as well. So if you want to check it out, it's Patreon/Rowcrop Special. So ditch it at my house is wild. Yeah, sure. You far from Nebraska? Jeremiah says, we're the bearded brotherhood, Rowcrop. Hell yeah, brother. I didn't know you had a beard. How long is it? Is it approaching my length? Mine's getting a little shabby. I need to trim it up, but okay. Let's move on to the next truck. Oh yeah, this is the AG Farms Denali. Isn't that sick? Pretty nice interior too. Really nice detail. I've been really amazed by some of the stuff that AG's been putting out. Looks really nice. Obviously, I'm playing on his map right now. He's done a lot of good work, so. Switch off of this truck. This one's a stupid little edit I did. This is the Bobcat 863 off the Mod Hub. I just edited it to have the 753 logos on it instead of the 863. And then I changed the orange or the red colors to an orange color. We've got one of these on my farm. Looks virtually identical to this. Just add a bunch of rust and dirt to it. And yeah. Next thing I'm going to show is the feed mill and some of the placeables that I'm working on. And then I'll just do a quick drive-by of CM's bin site here. That modular bin site. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? I've got my propane storage here. This one I'm going to rework a little bit just because I've learned some modeling things like that shading. Oops, God. That shading right there is off. You can see that looks pretty ugly. Some of the gauges are pretty bland. Plumbing's meh. So I'm going to rework some of that. Let's see the chat here. MRG says edited. I'm glad I'm not the only one. Ben asks, can you simulate an air ride seat in the cab, like making the first person view bob up and down when going through terrain? Absolutely. I've already done that to all my trucks. I can maybe if I remember to, I will show you what that looks like. It's just a really simple suspension node in the XML. So there's that bin site looking really nice. I do wish, CM, if you're in this, instead of that spout with the deadhead there, doing an overhead loadout bin. That'd be pretty cool. Or like another option or a modular option to make that so you can have an overhead loadout bin. Driving over here, I've got my anhydrous ammonia plant. Now, Smebby said, pretty good when he saw this. And I'll take that as a compliment. This plant here is compliant with Iowa IDAL's regulations, CGA G2.1 code for anhydrous ammonia storage plants, yada yada. Doesn't really matter, but that's what I built it to. Reason why is I work with anhydrous pretty much every day with my job, particularly on the regulatory side. So I know storage plants like the back of my hand, but this one's got really good plumbing options. You can see the occluder is a little big. I need to fix that. But you got really nice plumbing here. You got your bleed off tank. So when transport drivers fill into these lines, and then they shut it off, they can bleed off from this valve to their hose, through their hose to their truck. They can bleed it off into water to neutralize that excess anhydrous ammonia. You've also got your first aid water. I didn't notice that. The decals are clipping. But you got your first aid water. This tank was graciously permitted to use by LJR. And my data plate's clipping. What the hell? But you also got your emergency shutoff cable. So you'd pull that and it would close your emergency shutoff valves. You got your electrical components, and then you even got your emergency contact sign. Only real ones know what that address is. Tell me. Chat, what address, what show is that address from? Yeah, the overhead Jeremiah would look really good on that bin site. So yeah, this is my anhydrous placeable. It's also got just a single riser platform. That's what we call these right here, these filling stations. These are a riser platform. But you can see the hoses just kind of go into this box. That's where you would connect to the valves on the tank. And then you would have, I don't have them on here, but you would have electrical controls here where you just push a button. It would turn the pump on and then pump product to this riser and into the tank. So. Jesse, it's time to cook. Nicely done, everybody. Yes, maybe. Bitch. So yeah, there's my anhydrous plant. I'm going to show off my feed mill next here. There's some things that need to be changed with this feed mill in terms of the placeable version of it. The reason some of these things exist is because this is designed as a map object, an object that would be baked into the map. And so terrain would be able to deform up to these places. And you'll see what I'm talking about here in a second. And MRG, this is a call out to you, okay? This is what you're supposed to do with it. Getting up to the front here, I'll hop out in a second. You can see that like this office door is way up off the ground. You think, oh, there should be stairs there. No. In real life, if I made my wife laugh. In real life, the terrain slopes up to that door. So there's like gravel that leads up to that door. And then like this ramp here would be about like right where that line is right there on the concrete. There would be gravel up to that point, kind of sloping up. So it's level across. But yeah, this is the feed mill placeable that I've been working on. You are getting called out. Time to cook. Anyways, this is the placeable or feed mill that I've been working on. I think it's pretty cool. I used a lot of Giants assets in here to make it seem like a really nice old feed mill, an old Woodhouse feed mill. I think it looks pretty nice. But what you'd do here, you'd come with your tractor. These ramps are a little steep, so it's kind of hard to get up in here with like a semi-trailer, but with a wagon it works pretty good. And these alleys are really tight, so fitting a big old semi-trailer in there is going to be tough for some people, but that's kind of the point. These old wood houses were designed for tractors without duals and tractor and wagon combinations. So if I pull in here, pull over the dump pit here, you can dump your corn. I need to move this dump pit over a little bit. Yeah, because there it goes. Dump your corn, and then if you go to your productions menu, you go to this feed mill, you can start to see that corn is getting filled up in there. And then that corn, just 6,000 corn equals 6,000 pig food. Basic as basic is. So, once you have loaded your corn in here and it's cycled through the production, you would take your feed trailer or whatever implement of choice, and then you come to this new loadout bin site, pull underneath of it, and then you can pull out that pig food. So it's just a very basic pig food mill or pig feed mill that just cracks corn and turns it into pellets. But really happy with how this thing looks. It's just, oh, it's peachy, right? So going on to my next config, here's the one that I bought. So yeah, I'm gonna show off some of the, I talked about earlier, skinning meshes, making skinned meshes for absolutely everything now. So you can see here the shift lever in here, the boot down there, when it shifts, the boot moves around too. And then another thing you'll see, you can see those chains on the headache rack moving left and right. And you'll also see the antennas moving. Those antennas are a skin mesh, and then finally, pull up out of the grass so you can see them. My mud flaps are a skin mesh, so those flex too. So, got a lot of options on these trucks to kind of add a little bit of realism to them. So, anyways, let's get my combine unloaded because he's been sitting for a while. All right, everybody, what's your thoughts? You enjoying it? Liking what you see? My dog's trying to bark. Yeah, liking what you see. Hopefully you're excited about some of these mods. Hopefully you're excited about my prefab headache racks getting uploaded to the mod hub. Excuse me. Slurp my coffee down. As this combine is unloading, I'm going to show, Ben had asked the dirt and wear maps, and then he had asked to see the cab suspension. So I'll show that real quick. But let me get this combine starting to unload here. His grain cart's almost full, so this combine hopper is definitely going to fill it up. Awesome. Hot, definitely. That's what I like to hear, boys. And maybe girl, who knows? Hop in this combine. She is full. She's spilling onto the cab. Bada bing, bada boom. All right. I was going to switch back. This one has cab suspension. Or no, I'll show it on the Freightliner just because that's... So you can see it from the exterior. A little bit, maybe. Let me get onto some rough terrain. Maybe not. Let's look here. Look at the seat, okay? So you can see there, boom, it goes up and down in there. So yeah, you do have air ride suspension. You can kind of see the guy wiggling. Oh. Like a good neighbor, State Farm's going to show up and chew my ass. But yeah, you do have cab suspension or seat air ride seat suspension in that. So, I mean, boys, just look at that. Just look at that. Hang on one sec. Check my stream health here. Okay. Looking good. Switch back to FS here. Trying to think of what else I'm working on. I've got screenshots of some other stuff. Let's look here. Yeah, the headache racks. I got the FLD. Yeah, I think that covers pretty much everything. OMG, no realistic crashing. Yeah, blame that on Giants physics. Which makes me wonder, they're coming out with that racing game. It makes me wonder if they're going to have crash physics in that. Because if you look at like Assetto Corsa, BeamNG, Assetto Corsa Competizione, those all have crash physics. There she is. Now you can look at it. Would you just look at it, says Fender. Yeah, well, I can show my map. Are you talking about my Des Moines River Valley map? What are you thinking, MRG? Let's do the Freightliner FLT next. Just stare at that thing for a little bit. I'm gonna turn off the motor. Yeah, you want me to show off Des Moines River Valley? It's in a rough state right now. So you see here, this truck, it's also got the truck number and DOT stickers. And it's also got Dan Hotch from Sac City, Iowa. What's funny about this is Dan Hotch, I found a picture on Google Images that said Don Hatch. And I didn't want to dox the guy, so I just changed his name. Sorry, Don, I just doxed you now. But yeah, the logo on his truck looks just like that. And he's actually from Sac City, which is not too far from me. So you've also got your IFTA tax sticker and then your DOT inspection sticker, which I think is pretty dang cool. We'll look at it in that sunset. The angels are singing. That's screenshot worthy. Let's get it more like this so I can do a thank you post. Cool. Yeah, so I'm really enjoying doing vehicles. Placeables are also fun. I mean, just look at that feed mill off in the distance. Doesn't that look sweet? WV Fake Farmer, welcome in. Good to see you. Glad you could tune in for a little bit. Yeah, really loving doing vehicles, some placeables, some prefabs. Speaking of prefabs, look at that power line. Does that look familiar to anybody? I have taken this off of my itch.io page for now because I want to add some things to it. But that is a power line that I put together for people to use in their maps. That's pretty cool, huh? I've seen it in 3 or 4 maps, something like that. Jason says, great work on your mods. Thank you, man. Really appreciate that. Like I was just saying earlier, I've been having a lot of fun doing it. I know people struggle with motivation, and I do too when it comes to modding, just because it's a lot of work with little recognition, if you will. But it's been a really fun hobby for me. I've been tinkering with stuff and modding stuff since 2022. I started off with the old MRG's map making course. Made a really garbage map of a Northwest Iowa town. Sent it off to MRG, and he just said, I like the detail. Yeah, I like the detail is nice. But the rest of it was not good. It had a flat DEM. It was just meh. But I'll show you next my map of that I'm currently working on here. Let me just get out of this save here. Jason says, I am Northern Michigan mapping. I have Owendale coming out soon for Mod Hub. You're not nicer than that, Meg. Come on. Northern Michigan mapping. Have I heard? I think I've heard of you. But you got a map coming to the Mod Hub. That's sick. Do you have any other things on the Mod Hub? Or is that your first Mod Hub submission? I'm curious. Okay. So you see here, this is the preview for the Des Moines River Valley map. Okay, cool. Well, congrats, Northern Michigan Mapping, aka Jason. I just submitted my first thing. It's a prefab, but I just submitted my first thing to the Mod Hub yesterday. So good luck to you. Hopefully you're saying good luck to me as well. On this map, oh god, it's been about 9 months ago now. I had a really good playable state, had a lot of the town done and stuff like that. I don't know what I did wrong, but my i3D got corrupted. So I lost probably about 40 hours worth of work. Shot to the heart in terms of killing my motivation. So I reverted to an older copy. And so you can see it's, as you're gonna see, it's still in a pretty rough state. I still have to put power lines in. I think roads aren't in, stuff like that. So yes, Jason, they do get very picky. I'm a bit concerned even about my prefab. I followed all the tutorials of the good modders to make sure my normal maps, my spec maps were right, and we'll probably still find something. So Deuce would love a Texas Panhandle map. Oh, that would be cool. Panhandle is just so big and broad, you'd really have to do a 4X. Your 4th time sending it back to the Mod Hub? My god. My god. Back and forth and back and forth. I'd be curious to know what some of the struggles you're experiencing are with having to go back and forth so many times. What's up, Lanny? Welcome back. Hopefully things aren't as chaotic anymore for you. I think this map broke my game. It's stuck on compiling shaders. So you can see it's a very early stage. Oh my god. I had to Alt F4 here. Make sure I don't Alt F4 on OBS. That'd be bad. Oh, it just loaded in. Damn it. Alt F4 and it loaded in. Restarting. Meg, what are you frowny facing to, huh? You were nice about my first map. Like the compliment of I really love the detail. And you know, this is a really great first iteration of a map, and I think it was, you know, I spent a lot of time on it and I at least had a finished product. Pleasant View even streamed on it once. But says might be a field dimension issue. That's what causes that. If field dimensions are too complex, it gets stuck on compiling shaders for like 2 minutes. And it probably is that. Okay. Let's go back here and reload into it. Yeah, give me a second, Lanny. I am going to I'm reloading in now. So Northern Michigan mapping says some snow on buildings, lights on certain objects, just tiny little stuff. Oh yeah, for sure. Do you have custom buildings? Because I know like when you start doing the building shader masks and stuff, some of those things can get pretty particular too. But yeah, it's stuck at the compiling shaders again, so it must be my field dimensions for sure. There's some pretty unique field shapes in this map, so that could definitely be it. Got myself a fridge cigarette, if you will. Taylor Farms has been helping a lot, and other modders as well. Good. Yeah, I was thinking, I know Taylor Farms is another Michigan centric map maker. Yeah, I don't even have roads in here yet. I'll at least show like the PDA and stuff like that. Let my game capture catch up here. There it goes. So here's the old PDA of this map. It's a 4X. And it's based on the teeny tiny little town southeast of Pocahontas, Iowa. It is called Bradgate. You got my power lines on Owendale. That's hell yeah. Have the Giants said anything about them? I'd be curious. And Taylor Farms left because of Giants. Wow. I'm curious as to why. Yeah, Fender, I have not put out an update for this map a while because I've just been doing vehicles and placeables, honestly. That's why. The field dimension script has a built-in simplify feature, so just amp that up to fix it. Interesting. Okay. I'll have to look at that. Cool. It's good to hear that they haven't complained about my power lines. That's good to know that other map makers can use those. Anyways, back to my map. I'm a huge fan of my layout here. I remember back in the day, it was after Alma for FS22 came out, CeeLo Buki was doing a poll on his Facebook page of like, hey, I want some good map ideas from people. And he's like, my 2 conditions are that it has a river and a railroad. I'm like, huh, those are really good metrics for a map. And so I was just kind of browsing Iowa, Google Earth, and I had found this town, Bradgate, that runs right next to the Des Moines River. It also has an old railroad. This railroad is no longer there anymore. It's called the Three Rivers Trail. It's like a biking trail. But I just put the railroad back in there, so wasn't weird. Just checked my DMs and haven't seen this map in there yet. Sorry, pal. Again, very broken early stage right now. But you can see it's got some really unique field shapes. I redid the DEM yet again. Got my fields a little more accurate in terms of their shape and things like that. So Fake farmer says, eyes wide open now, baby. Are you looking forward to this map? I need to get back to it then, huh? Is it ICAS or ECAS that helped you with the buildings? I don't know how to pronounce his name. He's like Polish or something, isn't he? He does some damn good buildings. Damn good buildings. So yeah, I'll go back to kind of touring this PDA. Here's the town of Bradgate itself. It's got the co-op here. It's got 4 larger bins. It's got a concrete grain elevator right here. Got a dry fertilizer shed and anhydrous ammonia too. It's got an old bean flat, I'm assuming is what that is, and then a scale house. There's a small little town with like a fire department. There's not even a gas station in town. Actually, I think up by where my player marker is, there's a Quonset hut that has some fuel pumps, I think. You come up this angled road. There's 2 farms right across the street from each other. One small grain farm operation, and then one kind of uglier looking farm in terms of garbage or just junk laying around. But it's got some beef cattle pasture. So by Sunday then? Sure. I'll send it to you by Sunday. Whatever. And yeah, Jeremiah, I did show this one night. I did. So you got a 300 acre field on Owendale. It's a 4X, and you're going. That won't be on console. It'll be PC only, right? My biggest field is 15 right here, and that is 280 acres. So that's a beast of a field. Go back to touring farms. There's large pig building here, hog building, and then there's a medium-sized hog building up here. There's an old abandoned farm right here, and then another grain operation right here. Come down over this way. There's a couple farms surrounding the town, but I'm taking those out and replacing them with the dealership. There's a tiny little farm down here, just decorative only farm here. Little grain, and I'm going to make it a functioning cattle operation again down here. Dog's trying to bark. And then there's another set of hog buildings down here. A double. And then coming up a little bit more, there's a really cool, it's actually an old buffalo farm. I was messaging with a guy in SimStation's Discord that his uncle owned this back when it was the buffalo farm. I was like, no way, dude. No way. That's cool. All he did, I posted a screenshot of like this bridge right here, and he recognized it right away. That was cool. There's a little horse farm right here. So I'm going to have a horse farm right there. There's another beef cattle farm right here, and then another one up here. So you can see all the pasture areas for the beef cattle. And then a shit ton of trees. Let me just kind of fly around a little bit. So you can see the DEM still kind of rough in areas. But this map, even just with trees and some foliage, some basic foliage, just looks amazing. The DEM is just catches all those kind of low-lying like washout areas down in there. I hate the tram lines that Precision Farming does. So yeah, PC only. Case dealer that is on ModHub is based off a real dealer that ECAS made for me. Cool. Is it hard to put a snow mask on buildings? Are you talking about like the mesh on top? Because if so, I can send you a YouTube tutorial that Red Phoenix did that makes it look really easy. Turn up my running multiplier. Yeah, this would be a sick map, MRGM. I really do need to get back to it. But like this is kind of that abandoned farm that you can see where the 2 bins go right there. And then this is one of those hog farms. One of those just basic farms. You can see here these field dimensions are pretty complex MRGs, so. Jason, do you have Discord? There's a little bin site right here. It's got like 8 or 9 bins. You can kind of see where the 2 bigger bins go right there. And then there's a row of bins right back here that I think is owned by that grain farm operation. So like they have their main operation there. They own this field, and then they have a bin site right here because they don't have any bins on their farm, but they've got them here. So there's a big old gravel pit right in the center of the map. I'll have this as like a stone selling station. Couple bridges. That bridge is there in real life. The railroad bridge is there in real life. And then there's another spot for a bridge up here, but IRL, this bridge is out. It's been completely removed. So there's like blockades on either side of the road. Yes, you do. Okay. Let's connect. Are you in there as like Northern Michigan Farms or whatever it was? Peterman Farms. Okay, I'm gonna come back to chat and add you. And I'll message you that. But yeah, some really cool, really nice DEM, some really cool areas of this map that you know, would be really nice to add some detail to and stuff like that. In terms of like hunting blinds, like deer blinds, and there's nice little details. You can see there's a lot of options for terracing. I'm going to take these out just because you can't really do that with the current way Giants does fields. Thanks a lot. But yeah, I'm just smitten with this map. I love it. A couple ponds here and there, some drainage ditches that run down this way. Pretty cool. Am I running multiplier all the way up? It is. It's still slow. This is my huge field. That little spot right there is for a windmill. Right in there. You drive up and then you got a windmill sticking up. Only one windmill on this map, but I think it adds a nice little bit of dimension. Big Red, what does that mean? The gum? Or the soda? I did add LJR's deer dealership to this map. And this will be another PC only mod for my console players that are probably not in this stream. But got LJR's dealership in here. Obviously haven't taken out the foliage yet. But it's just a nice, like, smaller dealership. I think he made this for South Sask, but it got leaked, so he just released it. So yeah, that's the map, folks. You know? Oh, that's your Discord name. Okay. Yeah, I will add you and I'll send you that tutorial. Basically, you just add a cube in Blender, deform it a bunch, and then you just add, I think, a shader or so to it, and then it makes it show up so it builds up. Kind of like a fill plane for a trailer or for a bin. Speaking of bins, I didn't show off my feed bin. What am I thinking about? Let me switch back to my other map. Okay, good to know, Jason. Thank you. Switch back to my other save here, and I'll show you show you guys the feed bin. And I don't know how long have I been streaming. About an hour and a half. I think I might call it after that. Loading back into Denman, Nebraska here for a second. The red Freightliner is like what my dad had back in the days. The cab over. All right, so let me just let me go to this hog facility here quick. And then switch to construction mode. And then that feed bin that I have released is in the silos category. You scroll down. It kind of looks like these AGI bins. It's not. It's further down. Right here. There she blows. All I did with this bin is I found, I was looking for overhead feed bins on Google, and I found this Southwest Fabricators website, and they had really good dimensions of their 15-ton and other size bins, 10-ton, 15-ton, 30-ton bins. And so I made the 15-ton option. And they had really good reference images. So I'm going to place that down. And walk over to it. And so what these are for, I've had some people in my specialist Discord ask, like, what's the use case? The reason people run these, and they typically run them in like Oklahoma, Texas area for big cattle range feeding operation type things, pasture feeding, is what this allows smaller farmers to do is buy bulk feed rather than like bagged feed, so they get a more commodity price. So it makes it a little bit better pricing and a little bit better bottom line for their farms. So they get these, and then they'll pull under like a range feeder or some other like mixer wagon or something like that, and then they'll use that to feed their cattle. So they buy bulk feed, or they make it and store their excess, and then they pull it out of there. So you can pull this cable and it'll open the lid, and then you can turn this crank handle and it'll open the bottom gate. The chain doesn't move, which I need to figure out how to do that. But now that the lid is open, I can, hop into my, oh my God, I just passed it. Hop into my feed truck and fill this bad boy up. Need to add some more pig feed to this trailer. Now, some of the really cool things, I copied BC Bueller on how to do this, is the fill plane inside this bin. You can see that there is a couple windows right there. So I want you, when I'm filling this, to look at those windows. Ah! So look at those windows. A dynamic fill plane in there. So as it fills up, you can see those windows, the fill plane's going up and up and up and up. And it'll cap off at the top there. And that's what it's like full. Put my pipe back in. And then what I'll do is I'll just show you, this is what I've been using like on Ray County to feed my pigs, is just like a mod hub auger wagon. Set my storage right here. And I just get like a small tractor, like a 4010. No license plates. I hate those. Hop into that 4010 once I tab all the way through all the million vehicles I have. And then I just go to auger wagons here. How do I like the test runner? It's fine. For maps, it's crazy to read through all the different errors that you have. But for vehicles, there's less stuff that you're working with, so it's not too bad. Especially that prefab I made, there was like 2 errors that I had to fix. So it's nice. It's nice that it tells you stuff. Are you using, Deuce, are you using this overhead bin to feed your cattle? Do you have a cake feeder? Where'd you get your cake feeder at? I'd be curious to know. What I've been using instead of a cake feeder is this little auger wagon. So it's got an auger on the back. There's some old like vintage style versions of these. I can't remember the brand of them. John Deere even had one back in the day of like their first iteration of a grain cart that are very similar to this. And so I've just been using this on my like Ray County save to feed my pigs. But you just go in here, attach to it. And when you pull under the bin, this is only 11 feet tall. So it's pretty short. You gotta have a small tractor and small wagon to fit under here. You just pull under here. And then you start filling. You can see it holds a lot of different crops other than just feed. Why is it not showing me pig feed? What the hell? Well, broken. Junk mods. Row crop specials fake. Canceled. but normally it would fill with pig feed. And then you could just go feed your cattle. But there's some really nice details on this thing. I got all the different little stickers and bill of lading holders and stuff like that, and really happy with how this turned out. I think it looks really nice. If I redid the masks on it and took off some of the logos, I think I could get it on the Mod Hub. Will you in time release the bed pack for the Freightliner M2? It's an X2 bed pack, so it works on more than just the M2. I'm currently reworking basically everything on there. I'll show you what I have on there. I've got this feed bed, which I have totally reworked now, and I'm working on the dirt and wear maps currently. I've got this tanker, which I have also just recently reworked, so it looks a lot more realistic. I've got this tender bed, so you can, it's like my fertilizer trailer, but it's for X2. And I've got the flatbed. So yes, I will. DVF just came out with one. I was using that on converted one from FS22. Deer Valley Farms, is that DVF? And is it on Patreon or is it public? I'd be curious to know, because I will plug it on my Facebook. The flatbed that I have is very similar to BC Bueller's flatbed. It just has the front cab protector on it. It's basically all that's different. And then all of his X2 beds, like his oh, that's my old one or my new one, like his grain beds, his silage beds, and his potato boxes all work on my X2 trucks. So mine will have 4 different bed options. These 4 to the right here, bottom right. I'm just reworking them. Now that I have Substance Painter, I can make way better quality stuff, and my modeling skills have gotten a little bit better. So let me show you a render of that new feed trailer, or that feed bed. Where's it at? Where did I save those renders to? Maybe it's in my Discord. Give me a minute. Let me quick add to my display capture. This is the new feed bed. Looks similar, but there's a lot of more accurate details to it. So again, there it is, just on its own. I think it looks way, 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 way better. Let me open it in GE real quick too. It's public, but it's on his 93 Dodge pickup he came with. Okay. So it's attached to that. It's not like an attachable thing. Okay. Awesome, Jason. Good to hear that you're actually using it. I've seen a lot of people use it as a co-op truck. I think it helps that it has the co-op badge that you can put on there. Where did I put that feed bed? Here it is. So this is still not in-gamed yet. But this is what it's looking like in GE, the new feed bed. I think it looks way better. From the ones that already have the X2, excuse me, the current iteration of the X2 bed pack. This one you could tell is way better than the old one. Way more accurate auger and everything. It's better, and it's got some features from my feed trailer incorporated into it. It'll have the same sounds and stuff like that, so it'll be a lot better. Laney asks, are you going to be doing weekly streams showcasing your current projects? Weekly might be tough. Maybe monthly. At the latest, quarterly. So Q2 will be streaming our highlights to keep the stakeholders happy, the investors happy. No, I do plan to do regular streams to highlight some of the work in progress stuff that I'm doing. No Creek is a good modder, and he let me use one of his buildings for my new map. Awesome. Yeah, I've worked with No Creek on his Ray County map. The anhydrous plant that's in there and the propane bottle that's in there are both mine. I contributed that to the bi-weekly, maybe bi-weekly, depends on my progress. But on Ray County, those two things are what I contributed to that, and I've had the chance to talk with No Creek once or twice. Really great guy. Amazed that he can do what he can do. He is one of the best, if not the best, map makers out there. So it's not an attachment. Bummer. Maybe I'll message Deer Valley Farms and talk to him about it. I just talked to AT Farms. He had back in FS22 the Kelly R. Ryan feed wagon, and I asked him. It's actually Random Sparks model. I asked him if I could convert that, and he said for sure he has no plans to convert it. So that'll be something coming out soonish. What's up, Casually Farms? Yes, I also love Ray County. It's just immersive as hell. I've got a 30-hour save on there. I don't play the game much, so 30 hours is a lot. But Pleasant, keep it up, and I'm banning you. They haven't complained about the No Creek house. Is it the new one or the old one? Because LJR did those, and they are up to par for sure. I wonder if I have any other work in progress stuff that I haven't been showing off. Keep looking. I'll show some renders of my oops. This is the renders, the Blender renders of my it's the new house. Okay, yeah, that's really good. Big Farmer's got 150 hour save. My good God. Owendale, you have it on itch? Oh, I'm gonna test it out. Yeah, these are some of the renders of that anhydrous plant. Really happy with how this turned out. So, need to upload the new one. Yeah, you do. Get that out there. So, all right, gang. Been about an hour and a half. I think I'm gonna call it there. Appreciate y'all for tuning in to my once a year stream. But yeah, I really appreciate it. I hope you're all excited for some of my mods that I'm working on, some of the work in progress stuff that will be publicly released. Most of my stuff is PC only, but I do have that Mod Hub prefab submitted right now. If you're willing to and you want to check it out, I do have a Patreon. It's patreon.com/rowcropspecial. You get access to my exclusive community of specialists, highly specialized mod specialists that have been testing my work and contributing to the community as a whole in terms of my modding and mapping forums. So please do check that out. Again, yeah, I really appreciate y'all tuning in. Let's check out chat one last time before I do hop off. Casually Farms looking for a faller feed truck for small bins on the north farm by the hog building. Yeah, I'm working on that feed truck body, so that should come out soon. Pleasant says my default cube never turns out like yours. I'm quick with it. I should do a modeling stream sometime. Thanks for tuning in, MRG, Fenderer, Lanny, Jason. Appreciate talking to you in the introduction. Big Farmer, good to see you. Deuce, Ghosty, Ghostface, or whatever, and everyone that did tune in. Appreciate y'all. Have a good weekend, and hopefully see you in a month. Goodbye.